Radio 99.5 FM. If you're watching on social media, feel free to share this out. I have Dr. Aaron Chapa with Living Well Clinical Nutrition Center in Leak City at a brand new location right off of Main Street. I went there the other day, and it's awesome. So I'm going to kick this on the FM. Feel free to ask some questions. Let us know what you have going on. Here we go. Good morning. This is KHEA Radio 99.5 FM. It's Kickstart. My name is Gardy, and I have Dr. Aaron Chapa with Living Well Clinical Nutrition Center in studio. Dr. Chapa, how are you doing this morning?
Dr. Chapa is well today. He has definitely had an eventful morning, evening, night, and sleep pattern, weirdly, oddly. And but at the end of the day, we're kicking it, man. We're having a good day, and life is well, and I'm excited. So sometimes you have what you plan for things to work out the way they do, and they just don't. And you got to sidestep, and you got to cross step, and you got to be able to be quick on your feet and navigate the terrain, so to speak.
Yeah, because what other choice do you have?
That's right, because the day's happening, So here we are, and I'm excited and buzzing, and looking, fired up, ready to share a good message of health and wellness with people around the country, and just share what we do at Living Well, and tell people more about who we are and how we go about serving our community through diet and lifestyle, through supplement and detox, through functional medicine and blood work, and looking at alternative patterns to why your body might be breaking down and not performing at its best. And so we just came off of a really stellar weekend. We got to go see one of our mentors out of Colorado, Michael Gaeta, and Michael Gaeta is a phenomenal human being and has a strong passion for what it is that we're doing in the functional world and beyond, and very charismatic and just educational depth, and robust, repertoire of conversation and research that he can put together and teach. And so going to a live event, really for the first time in a long time, the events just aren't as popular live as they used to be. People are still kind of coming out of the whole lockdown mode. Hotels are still restrictive and things of that nature. So thankfully, we did score an opportunity to go and just be live with bodies, live with other great clinicians in the Austin, Houston, San Antonio area. And we were talking about the immune system. We were talking about the terrain. We are talking about how to maintenance the body, and how to care for the body, and how to maximize efficiency out of the body. And sometimes we just expect our body to perform perfect, right?
Like it was designed to and supposed to.
And supposed to. Like, whoa,
right.
whoa, why do I got this thing happening right now? For example, last night, and some of this could have been my fault, but I stayed at the office later. I was, doing some homework and trying to get some things done, so I'd be ready for today. And I got home late, and I guess I just was hungry. I mean, I'd eaten all my meals, and that wasn't the issue. It's not that I didn't eat. It's just that I wanted more food, so I decided I was gonna make a shake. And I saw in there some bone broth from the weekend I brought home from Austin, from a place called it's called Picnic. And if you ever get a chance in Austin to visit one of those, supposedly they're going to open one in Montrose area in the new year. But, they have a butter bones bone broth with some extra anti-inflammatory spices. And, oh, man, people go, bone broth sounds gross. Listen, this is like, I would drink this only if if it was readily available. It tastes so phenomenal and rich and just delicious, man. And we went to this place, so I brought my wife one home, and she just forgot it was in there, and well, I ain't gonna let it go to waste. And I was like, you snooze, you lose, sweetheart. I'm drinking that. So I warmed that stuff up and had it last night. Again, it's 9:30, and then I was still hungry, so I decided to make a shake. And so I had an Inflammaforce Shake, which is one of the shakes in our office. We have different shakes from all kinds of different needs to meet, whether it's detoxification, whether it's to balance blood sugar. This particular one is focused on decreasing inflammation in the brain, in the blood, and the GI tract. I love talking GI. And so I had one of those shakes that last night. So that was probably about about 2.5 cups of fluid. And, of course, I was up all night, peeing because my liver, I guess, was upset with me from maybe eating too much rich picnic goodness this weekend. And it is gluten-free and no processed sugars. I mean, it's Dr. Chapa friendly place, but still, when you have a 5-course meal, you can still overeat, you know what I mean? And that's probably what it was. But then I had a sneezing attack in the middle of the night. Like, it was like 4 o'clock in the morning, and I'm like, I'm getting up in an hour. I don't have time to deal with this. And it was like 20 sneezes, and I was like mad. I was like, dang it!
Right.
So I finally got up, and I went and grabbed some sinus relief spray. And it's a cool little silver spray, and snorted that stuff up the old nose, and put some peppermint on my forehead and around my sinuses, and fell right back asleep for an hour. It was great. And then, but when I woke up, I realized, man, I really didn't sleep good. I mean, waking up that many times a night and having all that, my body was upset. And again, having a plan to course correct and cross step is the game. Because like you said, we can't always predict what's going to go down today, or we can't, force the body to perform like we think it ought to be performing, even if it was designed to perform better than it did for me last night. So I said, you know what? If I'm going to have an allergy attack in the middle of the night, which I don't have allergies, not that I know of, I decided I'm just going to recognize that my body just told me something. Hey, you had an allergy attack. So what are you going to do about it? So I woke up and I started working on myself. I put some AF beta food in my program and took it right first thing in the morning with my my wellness salt, my Hawaiian and Australian sea salt, and I put, I drank about 20 ounces right out the gate with a teaspoon of that salt in there. Walked the dogs, came back, and then I took some. It's called Allercord now, but it used to be called Albizia, and it's an allergy elimination and herbal support product that I really don't use much, but man, I was glad I had it. And so I rocked that down the old pike, and then I got some B vitamins rolling, and got some more liver stuff going. And even though I went and walked the dogs for 15, 20 minutes, get my lymphatics moving, I came back and I supported the body again. And that's the game, is recognizing, hey, even though you slept bad or poor, or you wake up with a headache, and we don't ever want you to suffer, what are you going to do whenever that happens? You've got to take care of the terrain. You got to recognize that the allergen, or the sneezing for me last night, was just a symptom of my body, misfiring or not performing at its best. And it could be because I worked a really long day yesterday. It could be from the fun weekend I had. It could be that you've got something planned coming up and you need to be ready and prepared for it. And I noticed in my supplement regime yesterday, I really didn't I didn't take everything that I normally take. And so today, I left it in the car. I meant to bring it. No, I didn't.
You got supplements?
Yeah, of course. I've already had a ton, as I mentioned, and then even on the way to the radio, I had a ton. And then I got even a little bit more for after the show, because we're not gonna make the same mistake twice that we had yesterday, where I didn't take and support the body the way it needed to be supported. And this is one of the things that we talked about this weekend is, when you are managing the terrain. When I mean the terrain, you're like, look at your body like a temple, like a house, and in your house, Gardy, like, what are some of the maintenance items that you have to maintain on the regular, monthly at least?
Okay, what needs to be maintained, or what do I actually maintain?
No, there's that. We, in the ideal world that you were fulfilling all of your honey-do list.
Okay.
What would be on the gotta maintain level?
So.
This could be weekly, daily. I mean, because what you're going to see is this is the body. The body has the same type of maintenance requirements.
So on my refrigerator, there's a water thing, and it has a filter. So you're supposed to change the filter, you reset it, and in a couple months or however many weeks it is, a red light says, hey, you should probably change this filter out. Do I change the filter out? Yeah. Always on time?
No.
Not necessarily. The other thing would be the AC filters in my house.
Have you ever reset the filter and not changed it?
Yes. To make the red light go away. It's like the filter's totally changed.
It's got to be okay for 3 more months. It's funny. And I sometimes wonder, like they probably have a 3-month window, but it really can go 6 months. It's probably better than they anticipated, but they want to give you some sort of, they know you're going to push that red button, reset button, and ride it for another 3. So they build it for 6, tell you a 3 so that you hit the 6 and replace it. You know what I mean? That's what I think, possibly.
Same thing with there's like AC filters in my house, and you're supposed to change them. Ours are like once a year. But I notice it, and it's usually around the summertime because I'm like, man, we're trying to cool this house, and it's not working. The AC bill's high and all this stuff. And I'm like, probably should change. Yeah, it's about this time to change the filters out.
That's right. And so those are great examples of maintenance. Anything else?
Let's see.
Because you can even shrink it down. Those are like yearly, monthly. What are some things that you got to do weekly?
I would say, and this is almost daily, taking out the trash.
Oh, yeah. Because
the trash gets full, and I'm like, how do we go through so much stuff? We have to find a better way to maybe not create as much trash. But it's always, every time I turn around, it's take the trash out, get the trash out. That's another one.
Aren't you excited for your son when he gets old enough to start doing it for you?
That will be nice.
Yeah.
He's about there. He's almost there. But it'd be a little bit more of a mess than it's worth. And it's like, I'll just do it myself right now.
Yep. Okay. So, I would think we could even probably, if you're going to throw the trash in, we can throw the dishes into that same lump category of maintenance. Like you don't wash those dishes, that kitchen sink gets full, and then the whole kitchen falls apart.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how it rolls in our place. So and I remember in the olden days, we used to listen to the organizational lady, the Fly Lady. Do you remember the Fly Lady?
I don't know.
And anyway, she always would say, when you walk into your kitchen, if it's a bombshell, it looks like something blew up in there. If you just clean the kitchen sink, the whole kitchen will magically clean on its own. And I go, what? And it is the weirdest thing, Gardy. And she even says the same works with your floorboard in your car. And I'm like, you're kidding me. So I tried it. Keep the floorboards clean, the car stays cleaner. And really, frankly, clean. And so I have a few things on my floorboard, and guess what? I have a few miscellaneous things in the car. When my floorboards are completely and utterly clean, there is nothing in the car that doesn't belong in the car. I mean, it's just the silliest, wonderful, psychology of how we're wired. But again, it's just a due diligence. It's a maintenance. Your body is the same thing. It constantly is going through a cycle of due diligence, and we call that monitoring the terrain, cleaning the terrain. We have focused so much on germs and how bad people feel that they are, and they forget that the germs have been here as long as we have. The germs are living on your skin. The germs are infiltrated already into your sinuses and in your eyes and in your mucous membranes of your digestive tract, and they're everywhere. You're not getting away from them. And so, the analogy they gave is, are we just going to clean the fish, or are we going to clean the bowl? You clean the terrain, and the fish has a safe environment to thrive in. And the terrain is how we, keep the body maintenanced. We keep our houses, maintenanced so that our houses, our cars, our body will last longer and it will perform better. And so the terrain is everything. All right, and so we need to get away from the model that it's all about avoidance of germs. You can't do it. Good luck. It's like hiding from the sun. It's like hiding from summer heat in Texas. Right. Inside, you get affected with this, right?
Yeah.
And so this is an important conversation around, okay, if there is maintenance to do, what is in my power to maintenance in the body? And, of course, we can maintenance the immune system. We know, just kind of feeding off this idea that germs are bad and they're everywhere. And what are you going to do, about it? What is your part to play? We look at the terrain and immune alliance. The immune system is not like your heart. You don't have like a particular, area in your body that is your immune system. Like you know where your heart is, right? Where's your heart, Gardy?
It's right here.
Yeah, it's right there. Where's your lungs, Gardy?
It's right behind that.
Yeah. There are these big things, bellows behind your chest cavity. Where's your brain, Gardy? there's an wait. Oh,
I think it's in
let's
here.
call Jennifer. Let's see what she's got. Maybe she knows. Sorry, his head's screwed on. Hey, I thought you came in this way. I thought we screwed that thing on tighter than that. My bad.
Right.
And so we don't know where the immune system is because the immune system is everywhere. It's an alliance. It really isn't a system per se or a specific gland or organ. It is an alliance of organs and glands and systems working together, meshing together, becoming your cleanup crew, becoming your infection fighters. It's becoming your, hey, that needs to be overhauled and maintained. It's everything. It's like the maintenance man of the body, the immune alliance. And your liver is a part of your immune alliance. Well, we've talked about liver. Remember just 2 weeks ago, we were talking about the liver is the giver and detoxification. Or remember, we are still in July, so I can't, be in July and not be sharing the message of detoxification at Living Well Clinical Nutrition Center, right? That would just be party foul on the radio today, right?
It'd be wrong.
It would be wrong. But on the 1st, the 11th, the 21st, we have, kicked off days, for running a 10-day blood sugar reset program detox, an anti-inflammatory, detox protocol, and a cellular cleansing protocol. So tune into those. And even if you didn't start on the 1st or start on the 11th, start today. When's the best time to plant that oak tree, Gardy?
30 years ago.
That's right. But guess when the best next time is?
Right now, today.
I just feel like I'm just one of those infomercials, just, giving you a little tidbit of goodness and information and platitudes to help you reach down deep and be reminded that if you're not detoxing in the 21st century, in supporting that liver, you're missing a huge piece of your healthcare plan. So we want to help you and make sure that you are taking your liver and you are squeezing and wringing out all the toxins that don't belong in there and helping the liver perform better. I've got 38 products in my test kit right now, and I think I got a couple other stragglers that didn't make it into the test kit that support the 1,500 different pathways of the liver. So you think the liver is kind of important?
Yes, it is. It's very important.
I think it is. So, that's one of the immune alliance areas that we can focus on. Then we look at the spleen. The spleen, people don't really talk about much the spleen. Oh, I can have my spleen removed and be okay, right? Well, maybe. Or you don't know what you lose or how many years off your life you lost whenever you lose your spleen. And if you lost your spleen, please, don't hang your head low and feel like you're doomed. But recognize that just means what? More maintenance, more overhauling, more cleansing. You got to be more hypervigilant on focusing on how to better care for your body's terrain. And so when you lose organs, whether it's your gallbladder or your spleen or a kidney or part of your intestines, you've got to be more aggressive in your maintenance. You've got to be more hyper-focused. You can't push that reset button on the refrigerator filter system and make it run another 3 months without support. You know what I mean?
Right.
That would, in that case, would be bad. So if you have medications in your current, need supposedly of daily intake, if you have lost organs or glands or had surgeries, or if you've had major traumas, if you've had, whether it's a concussion or, some sort of knee surgery, elbow surgery, shoulder surgery, hand surgery, belly surgery, whatever you've potentially have done in the past, and whether maybe it wasn't a great idea, but you felt like you needed to do it, you followed what you thought was the best next thing for you, guess what? It just means your terrain needs to be monitored and maintained more readily. So, of course, we want to focus on cleaning the blood. That's where, that Inflammaforce Shake I was mentioning earlier is a very vital piece of the immune alliance, and making sure that it's cleaning out all the old red and white blood cells that have become decayed and need to be retired. And so your body will, when it retires those old red and white blood cells, your body will produce new red and white blood cells. Isn't that good news? And we want to make sure that we have healthy, hearty, well-trained red and white blood cells to do their jobs more effectively, so that your body is delivering nutrients, getting rid of waste, bringing immunity support to areas that the body is troubled by. And so we look at this immune alliance and we say, wow, okay, we just talked about the liver, and we talked about, the spleen. Well, what about my favorite, the intestines? We got this 28 feet of tubing from our mouth to our hind end, and guess what? It needs to be very well maintained. Every quarter, every month sometimes, I have people do 5-day cleanses to pull trash and waste and debris using binders and clays and charcoals to help, pull funk and filth out of the body. Because that intestinal tract, they go, well, I don't need it. I poop every day. Everything's great. Well, what if you need to get rid of 2 pounds of stuff a day and you're only getting rid of 1.5? Uh-oh. Now we're accumulating waste. That means you didn't take the trash out, Gardy. Does your wife like it when you don't take the trash out?
No.
Mine doesn't either. She gets a little bent. And she starts, kind of turning into that wet hen. Have you ever heard the old saying, madder than a wet hen?
I haven't.
Yeah, you got to go get a hen wet and watch what they do. It's pretty phenomenal. And guess what? We don't want our wives to turn into wet hens because that means it's trouble right here in League City. And we don't need that. We don't need that at all. And so we want to make darn sure that the trash is being taken out. And that is your number one exit channel, the exit strategy of choice. Number one, Gardy. Number what?
One.
Number one.
Not number two.
Not number two. I like where your head's at. That's great. I think your head's screwed on really well today. And so that's right. And it's is the number one body exit strategy so that your body can get rid of all the waste and filth and trash and funk that you've accumulated. And we want to make sure that we're maximizing that. So we do mini bowel cleanses, and we'll come in and clean that tube. We will suck 10,000 times its weight of these binders, trash out of your digestive tract. I make this sound. I mean, it's like sucking really hard, It's better than a Dyson vacuum,
Wow.
And so it's got to be good. And whenever you go through this 5-day program, it pulls this trash and waste out of your system. And guess what? Your liver will dump into a, clean bowel. It's like, that kitchen sink's always going to get dirty. The goal is to keep the kitchen sink clean and the whole kitchen stays healthy. The same thing with your floorboard in your car. You keep it clean and the car's cleaner. And therefore you feel better about it. Your confidence is up. There's nothing like walking into a dirty kitchen and just your whole energy just goes, ooh.
Yeah.
You walk into a clean kitchen and it's like almost you felt like Mr. Shine was there. Whatever that dude's name is, the bald-headed dude with
Mr.
the earring.
Clean.
Mr. Clean. Mm-hmm. And you just go, was Mr. Clean here today? No, it was Lexi. That's my 10-year-old. She is a dynamo. Like that girl, she just can't stand a mess. She gets out of her bed and makes her bed first thing in the morning, and before she comes down. And we didn't teach her that. I mean, I don't make my bed. If I'm just being quite honest with you.
Yeah.
And no, but she's wired that way. She just can't not do it. And so I love that about her, and that she's just got a strategy and a game on how to start her day right. Because we've talked about it. You start your day right, and you will naturally end it right, or at least better than it could have been, because you did a lot of things right throughout the day. And I think first it's that first morning routine. And so then we look at, the bowels and how important they are to the immune alliance. And we go, all right, well, now we've cleaned the blood, we've cleaned the liver, we've cleaned the bowels. What do we got to do next? Where's the next part of the immune alliance? Oh, we got the lymphatic system. The lymphatic system, what can you do with that? The lymphatic system is another trash elimination system, and it has built-in support, poop grinders or trash grinders or junk and funk grinders, these little lymph nodes that are encased with all these special bacteria that will literally grind down that acidic crud that will burn the tissues of excretion, whether in intestine or the kidneys, and it will neutralize them into something that your body can get rid of. And so we come in and we can do what we call a lymphatic cleanse, where we clean the lymphatic tissue very well and make sure that and I tell patients this, if I could reach in and grab hold of your lymphatic system, and the lymphatic system, understand, is as complex as your cardiovascular system, enough mileage in your cardiovascular system to wrap around the earth several times. The lymphatic system network is as complex, and it is because your body has all these buffering systems, these natural ways to neutralize acid burn, neutralize the effect of what this acid burn would do if it sat still in the body. And so the lymphatics need to be moved, the lymphatics need to be purged. And so if I could grab hold of your lymphatics, take them out, pop them like a rug, and put them back in your body, I really, really believe that you would see immediate change in your health, whether you had something as advanced as cancer or something like a skin irritation, rash, or diagnosable, skin condition. But you've got to make sure that you don't have that accumulated waste building up in the lymph tissue. And so we love coming in and cleaning out that part of the immune alliance, because, again, the cleaner the system, the cleaner those filtration systems are, guess what happens? Your AC runs better. You feel more kind of confident. Hey, I want to get back into the kitchen, and it's inviting. That is where we want to get people focused on the terrain, cleaning up the body. And you hear in this message that we have this immune alliance. We're not focused on running or hiding or burying our head in the sand when it comes to the bugs. We are looking at strengthening and bolstering the body by decreasing the burdens that you carry. Hey, any one of us that has lived in a house for even a year have accumulated, stuff we don't need anymore, right? And we go, wow, we're like junkies here, like we're hoarders, and to some degree we all are, to some with respect, and but some of us worse than others, and but we all have our issues, and we all have our need for help, and thank God for that community. The people that will speak into our lives and tell us, hey, your zipper's down, or hey, your garage looks like crud and you need to get on that, or hey, whatever, whoever that good friend is that you allow to speak truth into your life. But that's what we do. We speak health truth into your body, and we help you see where and what you can do, and where do we need to start. I mean, we can't do all these systems at the same time. Although our Ultimate Detox program gets pretty darn close. That's why we call it the Ultimate Detox program.
Dr. Chapa, just before we move on to the Ultimate Detox and focus on that, is there anything that you hoard? Is there anything? For me, I have like shirts from like high school and junior high, and I'm like, I may need these one day. Like, why would I want to get rid of these? These are some of my favorite shirts when I was like 12. Why would I get rid of it?
Well, so yes, I think I hoard things. I'm a pack rat. I definitely have an accumulation of shoes, even shoes I don't like, I won't get rid of. And but I have lately decided in the shoe department that even if I don't like them, I'm just going to turn them into lawn mowing shoes.
There you go.
Unless they really just feel cruddy on my feet, I'm going to get them to my son, because my son's foot literally is a half inch bigger than mine. And but interesting, like some of these shoes, they run a half size or size too big, and so he can wear some of my shoes. He can't wear others of my shoes. But I just said, dude, if you don't like them, chunk them, give them to your friend, mow grass in them. I don't care. I hate these shoes. Like, I had this literally a pair of shoes I found on a clearance rack, because I'm not just a maybe a pack rat, but I also get sucked into the old clearance shoe rack. I'm like, oh, home run!
You're practically
city.
giving them away.
That's better than chocolate, dude. I mean, I just get so fired up when I get me a good deal, and so, I definitely hold on to clothes as well, and I have I have two T-shirts from my basketball summer league in high school.
Oh, absolutely.
And it is the most comfortable, most amazing shirt in the whole world. It's torn. I'm almost the little strap's almost busted completely. I'm gonna have to have somebody sew that back up for me. My wife's like, let me throw that away, and I'm like, listen, we will have marriage issues if you touch this shirt. Like, just leave it alone. There's some things you can dress me, honey, but just don't talk to me about this particular shirt. It's so special. And so she goes, I got it. You know what I mean? So I think that also I have a hard time getting rid of old books. I have a hard time getting rid of old seminar notes, because, I've learned that they've said all of our lives, right, that the education that you got is not going to be the education your kids got. It seems like it keeps getting dumbed down or watered down and into this lowest common denominator idea. And so I try to keep books. Do you have an encyclopedia set at home, like a real hard cover?
No, I don't.
Okay, well, I do.
Yes.
And somebody was giving it away, and I'm like, I want it.
Why not?
I mean, I haven't even looked at it once.
This was like $10,000.
I mean,
like 15 years ago.
I
Yeah, it was like a lot of money. Multiple payments a month.
Yeah.
But it was great. It was great information.
And
it still is.
And I remember as a kid, we had a set of encyclopedias. Somebody was, like I said, giving these guys away, and I snagged them up and was so proud of them. But now they're just, getting bookworms in my attic. You know what I mean? It's like so dumb. But whatever, one day maybe, who knows? Just like history, maybe it'll come back around and it'll be a cool fad, a new shirt. Oh, because I've been seeing people like pulling out the old school Rockets hats.
Oh yeah.
And some of the old school Jordans are coming back and things like that. So totally, I'm a hoarder in that respect. And but yes, we have to look at how are you going to clean up the terrain and get rid of some of that stuff that you don't need anymore? Because if your body holds on to things it doesn't need anymore, that's trouble. That causes your body to malfunction, misfire, and start having issues and glitches. And those glitches lead into other symptom patterns that, of course, you develop and weren't born with, and they develop into diseases. And those diseases are diagnosable, and those diagnosable diseases have an accumulation of lots of pain and inflammation that comes along with it and drives our body into the pits. And it shifts our trajectory of vitality, that vim, vigor, and vip that we always like to talk to, and it moves it towards the slippery slope to nowhere, that slippery slope to disease land. And we just don't want anybody going down there. We want dads healthy and moms healthy so that they can be the best versions of mom and dad they can be to their babies. We want kids healthy and strong so that mom and dad aren't stressed out about if they're raising their kids right or taking care of them right. We want to teach them how to live better and be better through their thinking, their emotional state, their toxicity burden by lowering it, food intake, making sure that they're eating the best quality foods as often as humanly possible, not to be perfect all the time. I mean, Lord knows my kids are not perfect, but they understand the difference between sometimes foods, all the time foods, and never foods. And they have to, be okay with, hey, look, that's in the never food category. You put that in your body and you are hurting your system. I know it's not going to kill you today, but it will disrupt the body and cause the terrain to be an environment for disease instead of an environment for health and vitality. Make sense?
Yes.
And so we are constantly looking at, all right, the ultimate detox. How does that, play in? It hits the lymphatics. It hits the liver. It hits the bowels. It works on the blood. It cleans everything. 21 days of a focused, intense 21-day run, cleaning up your diet, getting what we call a stress-free vacation, a sugar-free vacation, a processed food vacation where we're giving you a break from all those stimulants and all those things that your body doesn't need. And it's amazing. Once people get through that initial they get that ball momentum moving, they all of a sudden feel, oh my gosh, I like this. Oh my gosh, I haven't thought this clear and processed this fast in ages. How do I keep this, Dr. Chapa? How do I keep this living well? And guess what? We just say the lifestyle. You make this a lifestyle, not just a thing you did once. You don't want to repaint your house once. You might have to do it in 10 years. You might have to do it, and you have to change your roof every 20 years or whatever. You've got to make sure that you're doing the proper maintenance on and around your crib, your body being the best crib you got. And so we look at how can we clean the body and it not completely stress us out. Well, I think when you make food, lifestyle, a daily choice, a daily discipline, and you put a little bit of intention behind what you're putting in your pie hole, you will find that it's not hard to make 70% good decisions in a day. And I think you start by tracking the food. We have kids going through our teen nutrition class. It's a 10-week program through the summer, and we've got several kids going through this program right now, and we're teaching them how to just track their food log, how to track their water intake, how to get a feel for, putting a meal together and seeing how that meal will affect their day. How, if they start their day with this type of food and they end with this type of food, what kind of productivity, play, athleticism do they notice? If they're big, athletes, what is their recovery like? What's their, performance like in the next season that's coming? And teaching the youth how to eat well and live well outside the home is a must today, just like education. It's a key on a key ring. And too often, mom and dad are passing down the same key to the old house that wasn't maintained, and they follow suit. They just live that lifestyle and not realize that the diseases that mom and dad have been struggling and dealing with from a digestive perspective, from a joint pain perspective, from a headache hormone perspective, from a heart blood pressure perspective, they're passing the baton of disease down as a generational curse instead of passing the baton of health and vitality and vim, vigor, and vip down to the next generation to carry to the next generation to be a generational blessing, 5, 6, 7, 10, 15 generations down. We've almost got to have I was just thinking about this the other day, like we need a 15 generation plan. Like how are we going to pass the health baton down in such a way that we are keeping intensity and attention on the food that we fuel our bodies with will either cause us to slip down nowhere lane or grow into that health and vitality that we all want at the end. Nobody wants to be broken and decrepit. Nobody wants to be run down and washed out. We want to go out with a bang. We want to live every day with heart and fully vital in every aspect of life, spirit, mind, and body. And I've told people a long time, I want to be 125, fully functional in spirit, mind, and body. Well, Dr. Chapa, what if you don't make it to 125? Well, God knows my expiration date. Who am I to say I'm going to live to be 125? I am very aware that I have an expiration date, and I don't know that date, but I'm going to live my days as much as I can with the attitude that I do have a part to play. And I believe God will honor that part to play. Now, my dad died of heart disease at 53. Does that mean that I have to cash in 11, 12 years? Hope not. That doesn't sound very appealing. I got a lot of work to do. I got a lot of kids to watch grow up, and I hope to see grandkids and great grandkids. And because to be a grandparent's one thing, but don't you want to be great, Gardy?
Of course, yes.
You got to wait for those great-grandbabies, dude.
Mm-hmm.
You got to have a plan to become great. You don't just happen. You got to make sure that you're doing all the things right. You got to get all aspects of the body firing all 8 cylinders. And it starts with recognizing the part you get to play in caring for and developing the immune alliance so that when things happen, your body is able to clear the waste more effectively. It's very hard to take things in the attic when you got to go around this and around that. And I'm thinking all the junk I have to walk through in my garage. I'm preaching to the choir here, But at the end of the day, I think that if it's in my garage, it's one thing. But what if it's your cardiovascular system? Ooh, a little bit more serious. A little too close to the chest, so to speak, right? What if it's in your lymphatics? And, well, I don't really understand my lymphatics, Dr. Chapa, so it doesn't really matter. No, just because you don't recognize it. Ignorance is not always bliss, guys. We've got to recognize that you have a part to play. And at Living Well, we're going to teach you where is your body breaking down and what can you start doing today in order to maximize and effectively build that alliance in such a way that when you're faced with the flu, when you're faced with the COVID, when you're faced with whatever the bug of choice is, staph, strep, they still exist, by the way. They're still out there. We just talk about other ones. Your body's immune system it has so many different ways of going at the bugs and destroying them. It's beautiful. It is a well-designed system. But if it is weighted down, burdened down, and washed out, if you will, too early, because you're not maintaining and caring for the body, and yes, children can find themselves in this precarious, washed out, dead zone, if you will, where their body is dirty and clogged up and not functioning at its best, and it will manifest rashes and headaches and acne. It'll manifest GI problems and belly pain, and it'll manifest blood pressure challenges, weight gain. It'll cause blood sugar dysregulation and or potentially nerve disruption and developmental changes in the body. It doesn't just apply to people in their middle age or their elderly age. It It doesn't apply to people on drugs or off drugs. All this stuff starts as a weed and develops into something more severe. We want to teach you how to pluck those weeds out, keep your weed garden clear. I didn't want to talk about that one.
The weeds?
The weeds, guys. We've got to pluck the weeds out, and we've got to make sure the bowels are being, continually cleaned out. So we've got the liver, we've got the spleen, we've got the lymph. Now, let's look at the thymus gland that lives behind your chest bone. Let's look at your bone marrow, inside all of your long bones. And we look at these areas of, what do they do? Producing, new white blood cells and strengthening the red blood cell count and making sure that you've got healthy immune support coming out of those tissues. Something as sesame seed, as simple as sesame seed oil, can stimulate bone marrow to produce more white blood cells. I mean, that is phenomenal. You know what I mean? Like, it's amazing to me to see that when we go in and we can strengthen the thymus gland by putting people through what we call a sequential immune alliance boosting protocol, and we can stimulate the chest bone, not the chest bone, but the thymus gland behind the chest bone to produce more white blood cells. That's cool. Natural killer cells. That's cool. Produce more of those. I want some higher production of natural killer cells. I mean, is it like because they're killer, like in the olden days when we used to say, oh, that's totally killer, dude? Or is it like killer, like because they know how to kill things? They know how to put people in a headlock. They know how to defend. They know how to be weapons of mass destruction. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I was praying this morning, and this is just a little spiritual side note. I was just thinking, Lord, apart from you, I'm just a shell of a man. And I'm fragile, and I'm fallible, and I'm broken. But with you, I'm a weapon of mass destruction. I can do great and mighty things in your hands. I can be molded into the man of God you've called me to be. And I just think that's kind of cool. That's that spiritual component. And the healthier we are, I think the more spiritually aligned we are with Christ, we get to go out and shine bright. I mean, you guys are doing your VBS this week here. And these kids are hopefully getting lit up by the leaders that are leading and volunteering. I mean, this show doesn't just happen. It takes volunteers that have extra gusto and extra energy. If you were assessing your health today, do you have the energy that you want? Do you have the mental fortitude that you want? I had a patient that comes here, and I was so proud of them because they were part of one of y'all's big performances. And that big performance, she was worried that, because it's doing any type of play work is many long nights. The performance is fairly intense because you want to perform well and do your part well. And their health wasn't, perfect. And they were thinking that, oh my gosh, I'm just not going to be able to, survive this week of prep and the weekend of performance. And yet they did. And I got the good fortune of talking to them on the front end and reminding them that they were in preparation, doing all the vitamins and minerals and essential fat work that we were doing in the beginning, the liver work that we were doing in the middle, the endocrine support that we did all along, the brain work to help clean and work with the brain to make it fire and function better. We were doing all this pre-work for such a time as this. So what is your such a time as this? What are you doing right now that's going to make a difference today? What's going to make a difference this week or this month or this year? We're halfway through the year, Gardy. Do you realize that?
That's crazy.
It's happening fast, and it's just like the sun comes up, the sun goes down, moons, rarely and properly, come in their season, and guess what? We're halfway through the year, and are you where you want to be from January? If you're not, do you have a plan on maximizing the end game and making sure that you finish the year strong? Or are you going to let life keep happening to you? Are you going to just stay, on the sideline and not stretch your faith and get out there and do something that you didn't think was possible? Listen, more clearly to the things of the Lord and say, Lord, what plan do you have for me today? How can you, help me? One of my favorite verses, Psalm 139, 23 and 24. Search me, O God, and know my heart. Find any offensive way in me and prune me. Ooh, pruning's not always fun, but man, there's new growth on the other side. Prune me in the way everlasting. Help me to see my imperfections, my blind spots, and not be so egotistical. And help me not to be non-humble and non-teachable. Help me to be focused on a new, brighter me so that I can be a better vessel for your plan and allow me to play in your game a different way or in a more brighter way and do my part. We are the hands and feet, the community. And so I just, encourage you. Your health matters. You're worth it. You know what I mean? Like, how many people are walking around today and they just don't realize they're worth it?
I say there's a lot of people.
It's sad. I think that we have self-image problems walking around. And young and old. I think we have people that just don't know who they are, much less whose they are, and therefore they're misguided, misdirected.
If you try and find your value in other things or what I can do or, in my job, and it's never going to be enough.
It will never be enough. And we've seen this time and time again. We've heard the old cliche that says money won't make you happy, and you can't buy happiness, right? I know. People say, but it sure makes life a little easier. Well, that's true. But at the end of the day, if you're not happy with what you got and where you're at, if you don't know who you are, whose you are, you're going to have a hard time figuring out the end game for you. What is your true passion and walking in that in such a way? And I truly believe that the healthier you are, the more you maintain a healthy constitution, the better you take care of your, beady eyes and your and control that tongue from a perspective of like what you are bringing in visually and or that you're eating or even hearing. All these things matter. There's so many areas of cleansing that need to be maintenance. Be careful, little eyes, what you see. Be careful, little ears, what you hear. You got to maintenance everything. You got to control everything. You got to take captive every thought. There's so much we have to do. But then at the end of the day, when you start to make things a habit, and habits are just to build a habit just requires a lot of blood sugar and a lot of resources, B vitamins, and your brain waves and your brain power at first. But then it gets to that stage of development where you become unconsciously competent in the habit of, I want to eat better. I want to do a detox every year. I want to floss and brush my teeth. I want to make sure that I care for the terrain. I want to do my part to get my sunshine today. I'm going to slow down so that I can breathe in and breathe out good life and get rid of the funk and the filth of the day, and bad energy that people try to project onto you. And that way you're not a sponge of garbage. You're a cleanser. You're like those little, sucker fish. They eat up the trash and spit out. I had somebody one time, you eat the fish and spit the bones. You gotta know when to hold them, know when to fold them. You can only do those things effectively if your body's healthy. Otherwise, your body's stepping over and stepping around and trying to do its best with all the garbage in the terrain, and all of a sudden you start misfiring and you start going down the wrong path and your body doesn't perform as good as it could. I mean, even though I started my night and I shouldn't have had, I had probably, like I said, 2 cups, 3 cups, 3.5 cups of fluid, at 9:30, 10 o'clock. What was I thinking? I don't know. I bet if it was a 12-ounce bottle, I'd have been fine. You know what I mean? But, this was a little bit more than 12 ounces. And so what happens at that point is I had to pay the piper. Now, the whole allergy thing, the little sneezing that we talked about in the beginning, to me, that's a fluke. That stuff doesn't happen. But I'm going to guarantee you that was my liver saying, I did not do a good job cleansing last night. It's like the kidneys were stealing all the bandwidth. They were playing video games all night, and I didn't get any of my work done. And here's your wake up call: hatchoo, 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 22 times. And I was like, whew. It was frustrating, But even when you find yourself frustrated, if you go, wait a second, that's just a check engine light. That was kind of perfect timing.
Yeah,
a check engine light. If you read the signs, if you pay attention to the check engine lights, you know when it's time to detox. Well, we'll tell you, January, July, great times to detox. So make sure you tune in and make sure that you participate in our blood sugar detox, our inflammatory detox, that you pay attention and do our cellular detox. Maximize July. Make sure that you're cleaning the house and making sure that you're maximizing the benefit of living your best life now. So this is exciting to me that you have a gift. And I remember, I'll leave you guys with this. A friend of mine, and I don't know where he got it, but I really like it. I can't take credit for it. But, we can all leverage it to the hilt. And here's my leverage. It's the glow principle. So lights glow, right? But if any one part of the fibrous makeup of the light isn't present, you don't see the glow, okay? So glow is a thing for gifts that we are given, lessons that we learn, opportunities that we get to reinvest, and the wisdom to share with others. And when all four of those categories are in place, you can glow right where you are and be a bright light for good. You can be a bright light for Christ. You can be a bright light in your workplace. You can be a bright light that influences change in your arena. And you can go and first take the bull by the horns and take care of your terrain so that your glow is a shine, and that shine is extraordinarily bright, and it influences people from in the nearby areas to afar. And I want everybody to know that they can glow. They can be better today than they were yesterday. Even if you have symptom patterns, you can outperform them. Anything your body can develop, it will undevelop as long as you play a different game and you do play a different card. And at Living Well, we're going to teach you to play those cards. We're going to teach you, turn this stone over. All right, it's time to do this. Let's go this direction. Let's side change and go this way. And I have patients that we've been working on things for months and years sometimes, depending on how severe the case was. And, man, it blows our mind. Whether they're on no medications, 3 medications, 18 medications, 22 medications, guess what? Their bodies will reverse the trend when you put a new game of software into the deck. When you play the health game the way Living Well plays it, you will feel better and live better and be better one bite at a time, one step at a time, one exercise routine at a time, one sleep pattern at a time, minus last night. And we are always working towards making ourselves better and brighter. And so I just want to leave you with that it's your health. We're talking about the immune alliance. The liver is a powerhouse. The spleen is a powerhouse. The gut lining is a powerhouse. The lymphatics, powerhouse. You can work on just those 4 systems every quarter. If you could rotate it every month, focus on this one January, this one February, March, April, and we can teach you how to pick the systems to focus on. And just like I got those 28 products to help 1,500 different pathways in your liver, we've got products and protocols and plans to turn your health around and to give you the vim, vigor, and vip that you've always wanted and believe you should be having, because that's how you were designed, Gardy. You're right. You and I were designed to be better than maybe we are today, and the good news is together we can bring it up a notch. Together we can be a glowing light to others, and that happens through our example, through our living practice, through our attitude and influence. And I just encourage everybody, if you are suffering with health disease challenges, if you've got stuff inflammation-wise going on in your joints or your body, give us a call at Living Well, 281-554-8600. Visit our website, justlivewell.com, and subscribe to our podcast. All the major social media platforms, if you type in Living Well Clinical Nutrition Center, we should pop up. Isn't that right?
That's correct. You can do that on Apple Podcasts and Spotify as well. If the audio version works better for you while you're cooking, while you're cleaning, while you're driving in the car, while you're at work, you can even fall asleep to it.
Oh,
that would be
yeah. So
nice.
then you're speaking to the subconscious, even better.
Clean yourself, liver.
That's right.
Do what you're
yourself.
designed to do.
You know what you're supposed to do tonight. And you will sleep better. You will live better. You will perform better. You'll create better. And you will be just a bright, glowing influence everywhere you go. So Living Well Clinical Nutrition Center believes in you. We are excited for you. And we look forward to knowing you better in your health and helping you get to where you want to be. So till next time, we will see you soon.
This is KHEA Radio, 99.5 FM.